Good Sunday morning, ladies and gentlemen. How are you doing on this cool Sunday morning in Texas? I am Kendrick, the sports guy, and you're watching TFG Sports Media, the best 30-minute sports talk show on social media. I hope everyone is having a great weekend. It's almost Monday. It's about that time to head back to your places of employment or your entrepreneurial endeavors. But again, I hope you are having a good weekend. But before we get into this sports talk, before we start, I'd like for you to come in. Make sure you hit that like button, share to all your social media platforms. Make sure you comment so we can chat a little bit about the NFL, the week 5 that's coming up in a couple of hours. We got some kickoffs jumping off and talk about a little bit of what happened in the sports world this week. We're going to highlight some of the headlines or some of the stories that I thought was interesting. But again, make sure you come in, like and comment and share this to your social media platforms, and also subscribe to the channels. If you haven't already done so, subscribe to TFG Sports Media on YouTube and like and follow it on Facebook, and subscribe to my own personal sports YouTube channel. That's Kendrick Sports, also that's SportZ HUSTLE. Make sure you subscribe to it and like and follow it on Facebook as well. And you can follow my personal Facebook page. That's Kendrick Roland Henderson. I am at 3,000 followers over there. And you can also follow me on Instagram at KDrick. That's KDRICK 1969. And you can follow me on TikTok, Kendrick Henderson 51. I promise you I will follow you back as well. So again, I hope everybody's getting ready for week 5 NFL. We got a couple of teams that's on bye weeks this week as well. And we had college football went down yesterday. We had the Red River rivalry, which we're going to jump into here in just a second. And the Colorado Buffaloes, they got, after a 2-game losing streak, Coach Prime and his Colorado team, they got the W versus Arizona State on last night. Probably a lot of people probably couldn't find it because guess what? It was on the Pac-12 network. So if you ain't got that a part of your package, you probably wasn't able to catch it, but I was able to catch it a little bit. But again, they won on a field goal. So it was an interesting game. Again, Colorado got the win over Arizona State, who had only won one game. Now, we're going to jump into the sports talk, and guess who's joining me? My right-hand man, as always, KOTV sports director at the ABC affiliate in Tyler, Texas, my man Michael E. Coleman. Mike, good Sunday morning to you. How you doing?
What's going on, man? I'm coming to you from the Coleman Media headquarters here on Colgate Drive in Tyler. I can't tell you where because you'll be coming over wanting to borrow some coffee or something.
Right. Yeah. Well, good morning to you, my brother. I know you had a little bit of a busy Saturday. Well, it didn't turn out to be as busy as you thought it was because of a certain game that you didn't have to cover, but you normally have stuff to cover on Saturdays. So what did you think? Let's go ahead and jump into this. Red River rivalry. I'll be honest with you. I work an overnight job, part-time job. So I got home. I was expected to stay up to watch it because it's 11 a.m. kickoff. And it ended up watching me. I wake up and the game is over. I missed the whole doggone game, except for the first quarter, Mike. The Red River rivalry went down. Oklahoma pulled out the W. Your thoughts on it? You checked it out.
You know what, man? It came as hyped. It came as advertised. Both teams unbeaten. One team is ranked 12th, OU. Texas, the highest they've been probably since Vince Young's days, number 3. It was a good game, and if there had been another quarter left, OU could be on the receiving end because they both were going back and forth. There was some good play there. I mean, compared to last year when OU got beat 49-0, under that new first-year head coach, but he's not new now, Brett Venables. But no, they played a good game. I hadn't seen that Jaden Gabriel. I hadn't seen an Oklahoma quarterback of stature play in quite some time. This kid, he was hurt last year, I guess, who wasn't able to play.
Yeah, he was concussed. Yeah, he couldn't play in the game.
He's got a little game. I mean, he's not who was the previous two quarterbacks, Caleb Williams and Spencer Rattler. He's neither of
Right.
those guys, but he got the
Mhm.
job done. And I was
Mhm.
very impressed with the 75-yard drive with like a minute to play, a
Yeah.
la Shadur at Colorado
Right.
State. I said, well, this guy here,
Right.
he's pretty
Uh-huh.
good. So I enjoy the game. It was a good game. Not going to question Texas's credibility. Um, that's probably the toughest game they're gonna have the rest of the year. As I think about it,
Right.
unless okay,
Yeah.
maybe K State. I don't think they played K State. They played Kansas. They beat Kansas. But
Right.
now for OU, I don't know that they probably got at least one more tough game in their path. And it could be Kansas, because after having said all
Mhm.
that, I really don't know. I really don't know how good Oklahoma really is. I mean, I know they're now
Yeah.
6-0, but I
Mhm.
don't really know how good they are. And they beat a good Texas team. And what
Yeah.
and so Texas gets
Yeah.
credibility because they beat Alabama and they stayed unbeaten. That's where their credibility comes
Mhm.
from, and as it should be.
Right. And the other side of this coin now, this is the last time these two will meet as Big 12 foes. They will be moving to the SEC next season. And the SEC commissioner was actually, I think his name is Greg Sankey, was at
Yeah.
this game. And the Big 12 commissioner wasn't. What you think about that,
Okay.
Mike?
Well, that means that Greg sees money. He said, "Oh, this is going to be great.
That's exactly
This is
right.
going to be
Yeah.
great for us." Because what they've done is they've taken Sanford and the Son and put it on Hulu. You know,
Right, right.
that's what
Yeah.
they've done.
Right,
For lack of a
right.
better example, Hulu is not that strong, but but that's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. That's what I'm saying is they have a built-in they have a built-in audience already, and they're going to add more because the SEC folks are going to like, what's this Red River rivalry all about? All they know about is the Alabamas and the Georgias and those rivalry games. They just added a
Mhm.
classic to their conference, and that's forward thinking
Yeah.
for Southeast Conference. And yeah, I see why the commissioner was at that game. He probably was licking his
Yeah.
chops.
And ching ching in his eyeballs. He got the dollar signs because
Yeah.
that
Now,
rivalry is gonna bring a whole lot of
now
money
I
to the
have this
to the
question: does
conference.
it stay with ABC or does it go to the SEC network, which is CBS?
Yeah, yeah. We don't know the
Yeah,
that depends on what the contract
right,
media
right,
contract situation is. So we don't know.
exactly.
But I'm probably sure it probably will move. I don't.
I would think it'd have to.
It'll
I
probably
mean,
go to CBS. It'll
unless you
probably. I
right,
mean,
yeah, yeah.
that's my thoughts. I don't know, but
Just like
yeah, go ahead.
unless there's a clause in there that says, down the road, if X, Y, and Z happens that kicks these two out of the conference, we still get the rights. And so yeah, you can have that clause.
Hmm.
Anybody think about that, but that clause ain't even close to being there. I promise you. I promise you.
Right. Right. So again, the Red River rival, it lived up to its billing.
Yeah, it did.
12th ranked Oklahoma. They could probably move up a couple of notches. I'm sure Texas is probably a drop. Texas maybe drop maybe to 5 or 6, but they'll
Yeah,
stay in the
yeah,
top 10.
yeah,
And
yeah.
Oklahoma move into the top 10. And then there you have two Big 12 teams that's ranked in the top 10 at almost the halfway point of the college football season. So
And look,
these guys,
and think about the number of
go
SEC
ahead.
schools. Think about the number of SEC
Hmm.
schools in that top 10. It's like, wow,
Right.
if there's three, there's five SEC schools in the top 10
Right, right.
with
So
those
there
two
you have
being there
with
next
those
year.
with those two being there next year. So we'll see what happens. So again, Texas OU, the tradition will continue, but it will continue in another conference. Now let's move on to another sad news report, Mike, and in the NFL. We've lost another legend, man. Just back in May, we lost the legendary Jim Brown. A couple of months later, we lose. Some say the linebacker that made linebacker the position it is, the late Dick Butkus on Thursday. Mike, you were a big Gale Sayers guy, which Gale Sayers and Dick Butkus were both drafted in the first round by the Bears. When you got the news about Dick Butkus passing, your thoughts?
And the first thing I thought was all of our childhood heroes and legends are leaving us, and it happens. I mean, I'm not. It wasn't like it was a
Right.
surprise. It's just that you're always like when Jim Brown died. I said, "Wow, Jim Brown died." when Gale Sayers like, dang, and now it's like Dick Butkus. I mean, these are Hall of Famers, man. These are guys who
Right,
raised
right,
the bar for how to be
right.
judged or how to judge the future people at your position. And in the world of sports, that's a big deal in the world of sports. In the real world, nobody cares. That's okay. But that's why we have our own world
Hmm.
where we can worship and give high praise to cats that if you love sports and especially if you love football, you see a cold move or a hard hit, you wince, because you feel for that person on the other end of that. That's
Right.
a fan. That's a fan. And I just think, he and what I think is another cool stat about him, he played all of his football in the state of Illinois.
I was just getting ready to ask you about that.
Yeah.
Had there ever been any other player that's I can't think of any other
I
top of
can't
my
think of
head.
anybody, man, because
Yeah.
everybody gets drafted and goes, and
Right.
you know, um, high school, college, and the
Hmm.
NFL. So I mean,
Right.
that's a heck of a situation there, man. And rest in peace, Dick Butkus. I don't know if you are young enough to remember or old enough to remember um, those Miller Lite beer commercials.
Yes.
Tastes
Yeah, I
great,
do.
less
I do.
filling. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's how.
I remember.
Well, that's how I ended my in my show a few nights ago when I talked about it. I had him at the top,
Hmm.
and I ended it at the bottom just because that's Dick Butkus.
Yeah.
And I said he did
Right.
movies and commercials as well. Tastes
Hmm.
great,
Hmm.
less filling. I said if you
Hmm.
don't know what that means you wasn't around when he said it. So and people
Right.
started
Right.
laughing
Right.
like
Oh,
idiots.
I remember those commercials just like
Oh, those
yesterday,
commercials were
man.
fun, man.
Yeah.
Billy Martin would be in them.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah. Uh huh.
um, I mean, just a bunch of big. Bubba Smith was in those
Bubba Smith.
commercials.
Yep. Uh huh. Yes.
They'd
Yes.
have horse racing jockeys in there. You didn't even know, like a shoemaker or
Hmm.
somebody. So they brought all these former athletes to do a beer commercial together, and it was a great writing, and it's pretty good. And Nick Buckus was, I think he and Bubba were kind of like the headliners of those commercials,
Right.
and they would
Yeah.
be the ones bantering back and forth. So that was a great commercial. I mean, I'm gonna have me YouTube when I
Hmm.
get through with you
Hmm.
today. Check out some
Right.
commercials.
Check out some of them. Yeah, I also read, reading background on Dick Butkus. I didn't realize that him and George Hallis had fell out after he retired. He had a serious knee injury. He retired, I believe, in 70, 71. I think it was 71 when he retired. And he sued, Dick Butkus had to sue to get the remaining of his contract money after his retirement. And him and George Hallis didn't speak for like 5, 6 years after that. But they would eventually reconnect, and
You see,
they would.
and I think that era of an owner, and some of those owners are still around today, except they're younger people running it in their family. They still have to say. I think owners of that day, that's atypical of owners of that era.
Yeah.
You know that
Hmm.
on the money tip, because owners they're greedy, man. They're greedy and they're
Oh
stingy. I
yeah.
mean,
Oh yeah.
when they get the city
Right.
to
You're
build
right
them a
about that.
stadium, they get the city to build
Yeah.
them a stadium. Why don't you build a stadium? Well, I don't need to build a stadium. Y'all the fans, y'all want to come to the game, y'all need to build a stadium. And they get through all the political
Right.
stuff and get those stadiums built. But no, he was Dick Butkus. And you know what? And Papa Bear Hallis, I mean, he has a lot of history too. I mean,
Yeah.
I went to school in Illinois, as you know, and Southern Illinois, and
Hmm.
I was always infatuated with the Bears because of Gale Sayers. But
Hmm.
I would read books. When you're kids, you read books on stuff that you like. And I mean, they used to be in Decatur, Illinois. The Chicago Bears
Hmm.
were, and they were called the Chicago the Decatur Staleys, as in Staley syrup,
Mm.
because one of the owners of the early days of the NFL was a Staley syrup guy,
Okay.
and so he bought a team and made Hallis the coach, and then Hallis became the owner and the coach and moved them to Chicago. So they're one of like 5 or 6 original NFL teams. And again, when you tie that kind of history to Dick Butkus and how he played when he was in the league, I mean, because he couldn't play today, man. He's too hard, man.
I was just out, man. Perfect segue. That middle linebacker position. When we talk about if you for the youngsters out there, and I wasn't around when he played. Obviously, I wasn't born to '69, so I had to watch it. I watched it on film or
That's
whatever.
what NFL
But
Films is for.
yeah, Dick Butkus, man. Let's be real. He wouldn't be getting a paycheck today because the way he was hitting him, and I remember the safety for the Raiders, Jack Tatum.
Jack
Them
Tatum.
two would never have a check because the way
No.
they came with bad intentions every freaking time they tackled. Your thoughts on the middle linebacker position? I mean, most people, when you talk about middle linebackers, Dick Butkus' name is always going to be close to the top. Is he the best at that position, in your opinion?
Before we get to that, just look at the picture that you have up there. Look at the shoulders. This cat is ready to launch into somebody.
Right.
Look, he's look at you can look at this picture and see the intensity of how he played right there.
Right.
Well, I don't know if he's the best middle linebacker. It's a short conversation though. I mean,
right.
the linebackers of the day. I mean, it's again, it's a generational thing, but there are some cats that transcend that generation. And I'll put it this way. I'll say he's the toughest linebacker because he played at a time where you played for the love of the game, where you played at the time where, you had to have two jobs. You football practice and then go to your job. It might be selling cars or whatever it might be, and still you're going to have that energy to go to practice. You're going to play on Sundays and you're going to play hurt because you're going to be sore for a long time because the technology of injuries wasn't around. So all that stuff before what we see today in today's game, the cats from that era, they are among the best of all time because of the conditions they played. And that's where I look at it for those guys. And so, I mean, the guys today, I mean, Ray Lewis, come on, man. I mean, shoot. I mean, who's going to mess with Ray Lewis? Ain't nobody going to mess with Ray Lewis. But Ray came at a different time where they had air conditioning.
Yeah, different eras, different times.
And that whole bit.
Yeah, different eras, different times.
But it doesn't take away the heart. You can have heart in any era, any generation, and how you work under the conditions that you have. That makes you stand out even more. And so for those guys back there, it's like the Negro Leaguers. You see them wearing my hat and my shirt.
Right.
The way we admire the Negro Leaguers today, back when they were playing, there's probably nothing admirable about what they were doing to them because of the conditions they had to do it, but they didn't know any other way.
They didn't know any. Right.
All they knew is they knew. And so today we're like, oh man, the Negro Leaguers, man, them cats were bad, and they were bad.
Yeah.
And real quick, I met when I worked in New York, I met a Negro Leaguer. He's a pitcher, Mudcat. He played in Major League Baseball or Negro League Baseball, and he's from that era of the Negro League, obviously era. And one of my favorite movies is Bingo Long and the Traveling Motor King All Stars.
Yeah,
all right. Richard Pryor, Billy D, James Earl Jones. I mean, it's just a funny movie and a historical movie in that sense. And I remember bringing that movie up to him, and I remember walking away and saying, "Wow, I probably shouldn't have brought that up because he doesn't like the movie." And I'm gonna tell you why he doesn't like the movie. He felt like we were laughing at them.
Yeah, I could.
In that movie, from where he stands, he said, "There's nothing funny about what we did."
Right, exactly. And I can understand his.
Yeah.
I can understand
and I mean, so I have a lot of respect for cats like that, and I respect what he had to say. He misinterprets it, but that's okay because he lived it, and there wasn't nobody laughing.
Right.
Exactly. Like
it's not
in the movie.
It's not a laughing
matter.
Era.
It's about the era and the conditions.
It's about the era. So again, we say rest in power. Continue on your peaceful journey, Mr. Butkus. He's survived by his wife Helen and 3 children, Ricky, Matt, and Nikki. And I'm sure the Bears will do something special. I know they had a moment of silence before the Washington game.
How about the day he dies?
And they went out and thumped them doggone Commanders. Right.
That's what I'm saying. You couldn't have wrote a script like that. He dies and you win your first game in 15 tries. It's like, wow. I mean, Somebody
I
said,
know that's
"Who
crazy,
died and
isn't it?
who died
Yeah,
and let
yeah,
y'all win
yeah.
a game?" Dick Butkus. Oh, okay, I get it now.
Well, somebody need to die every week then if y'all gonna win. Well, hey, I'm sorry, that was a bad joke. My bad.
But we
Well, I'm
get
a
it, a
Packers
jest.
fan, so you know I'm gonna mess with the
Right.
Bears.
Well, and we know
I'm
about
just
the history
joking.
of the
I don't want
Packers.
nobody
They
to
got
die every week.
Bronco Nagurski and cats like that. I mean, that's
Yeah,
that era, man. I mean,
right,
that's
right,
that. Hey, that's hardcore ball.
right,
The NFC Central was no joke. It was no joke. The Bears, the
right,
Packers,
right.
even Detroit had a little stuff back in the
Mm-hmm.
day. So no, it's
Yeah, a little bit, not
yeah.
too much, but
And
they
when
did.
these
You're right.
guys die, maybe that new generation, if they like football, they're gonna be like, oh, wow, I never heard of this guy. Let me look him up. And they'll learn a whole lot if they
Mm-hmm.
look up a guy like Dick Butkus.
Right. And another thing, Mike, I just thought about for the Packers, I have to mention that the artist behind the drawing of the G on the helmet, he actually
Mm.
died last week as well.
Oh,
I did a
yeah,
little, yeah.
dang.
Go check out the story on TFG Sports Media, Kendrick Sports Hustle. Yeah, the artist that actually rendered the G for the Green Bay Packers, he passed away this past week as well. So I
When I
want to
was
send a
when
shout
I
out to
played
him too.
JUCO ball, one of our assistant coaches was a former Packer wide receiver. Now that I think about it,
Mm-hmm.
I think his name was Ray Loon. I'm not sure, but there was somebody
Mm-hmm.
else that he on that team who was the receiver of that era, whoever that might be. We're talking about 40s and 50s, I think.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Um,
You going way back. Yeah,
yeah, that's what I'm
yeah,
saying. So I mean, I
yeah.
never heard of this guy, but I had heard of this legendary receiver, and so it's like he wasn't the great Packer receiver.
Was it Don Hudson? It had to be
That's
Don Hudson.
exactly it. That's
Yeah,
exactly it.
it had to be.
He
Yeah,
played
that's
with Don Hudson, and
wow.
and
Yeah,
so
you going way back,
right,
dude.
right,
Right.
because
Yes.
the cat was. I mean, the cat was probably in his 70s or 60s when he was coaching
Yeah.
us.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. That had to
but
be
the
Don
mirror,
Hudson.
but
Mm-hmm.
that's probably. And I'll tell you somebody else that had a big name. Oh, let me back up. Oh shoot, Raymond Berry. Who did he play for? The Colts.
Oh, the Colts. Yeah, Raymond Berry
Yeah.
played for the Colts.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, those are old school names where they don't have
Right.
any color film,
Right.
and but this is just being able to be around somebody who played with somebody like that, you give them a lot of
Yeah.
respect. And he was, and the guy, all the receiving core loved this guy. So, because when you're that age, you're still impressionable, and you're learning
Mm-hmm.
from somebody that played the game.
Right.
It's kind of like those kids with
Right.
Colorado. They're learning from somebody who played the
Yeah.
game.
And I know we kind of going down. Took a detour, but you just said something interesting though, Mike. Because I think when we think about our generation, we revered historical figures and people. We revered them. We didn't look at them as old school
Right.
or oh y'all has beens y'all what y'all game was we weren't disrespectful to those that came before us. This generation, I ain't gonna say all, but a lot of these new generational cats are very disrespectful to the eras that came before them. And I'm talking about some of these former professional athletes, i.e.
Well,
Gilbert Arenas, i.e. it's a bunch of them got these podcasts. They be very disrespectful to the players. JJ Redick calling them
that's who I was
plumbers
thinking
and,
of. I was
and
thinking about
firemen.
JJ
I
Redick.
think
Yeah,
I think they be very disrespectful about the players that paved the way for them, and I think I don't like that.
well, and you're right. I agree with you, because they have no sense of history. If you don't have a sense of history about those who did it before you, you're gonna be oblivious to what they brought to the table. You
Right.
know,
Right.
that is so true, man. And you know, it's I don't know if you've seen Bill Bellamy's. I won't say it, but I don't know if you've seen the Bill Bellamy piece he does about Jim Brown, which is
Yes,
really
I did. Yeah, I think I think didn't you post it?
I
Didn't
may
you?
have. Okay, I may have sent you that.
Actually, I think you sent me that, and I
I
had
think I
already
sent you
seen it.
that.
But it was yeah, it was funny. Yes, yeah, I did see that.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean,
So, but again,
it's
so
and he tells a great
yeah.
story. Bill Bellamy knows how to tell a story. He's funny when he tells a
Oh,
story.
oh yeah, he's a great storyteller. Great storyteller. So now let's move on to we got NFL Week 5 jumping off, guys. Mike, we got a game going on right now in London. I keep forgetting about these early morning games. We got Jacksonville and Buffalo. It's a baseball score right now. Jacksonville is up 11-7 with 13 minutes and 34
Wow.
seconds left in the third quarter.
I wonder if
So let's
Jacksonville
let's let's
stayed. Didn't they? Weren't they just in London 2 weeks ago or last week?
who played in
It was
wasn't that
Jacksonville.
was it Jacksonville that played last
It
week?
was
You
Jacksonville.
know
I'm
what?
trying to remember who they
You're
played.
right. I think it was the Jags
So
in
they got the
London
win.
last
So I'm
week.
wondering if they stayed over there.
Yeah, so they probably stayed over there.
They
You're right.
probably stayed
It was
over.
Jacksonville. I forgot who they played, but they
And I
were.
didn't. And I think
But
I'm thinking. Well, I didn't know you could book an NFL team for 2 weeks to London.
man,
You
well,
know.
it's the NFL really trying to make headway in that London area. So I know they had talks about maybe trying to move a franchise over there, but I don't that
Wow.
logistically that would be tough to have a
Yeah, man.
franchise, and I don't know how you can
Yeah,
manage that.
you talk about West Virginia coming across the state,
Right.
across the country to play in the Big 12.
Right, exactly.
That's that's a
That's
tough one right
crazy.
there.
That's a tough one. So again, we got the Jags and Bills going right now, but our noon kickoffs, we got the Texans at the Falcons, the Panthers at the Lions, the Titans at the Colts, the Giants at the Dolphins, the Saints at the Patriots, the Ravens at the Steelers. Mike, those are our noon kickoffs. Which one of those games somewhat intrigue you, if any, at
I
all?
think Ravens and Steelers because I want to see if are the Steelers really that bad. I want to
Yeah,
see that. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
and we may have talked about it before, but if I just think Tomlin needs new scenery
I think you're right. I agree.
because
I
I
think it's
think I
mhm,
think he and the organization are continuing to do things the way it was done 10 years ago, and that might not be his call. He might be biting his lip and just like trying to go along with the ship,
right,
because that's what I mean. He's not going to bite the hand that feeds him, but he also is not going to back down either. I'm not, he's going. I think if he had to have a conversation of this nature, that conversations has happened. It just don't need to be made public. You know what
right,
I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
right. Hmm.
So I want to see that game. Um, I got a bad feeling because I think Bijan Robinson,
Uh
our new
oh.
favorite running back, is
Uh
going to
oh.
torch him.
You
He's
think
going to
you
torch him.
gonna
I
get
think
the
he's going.
you think you're gonna
I
touch the Texas? Uh
yeah,
oh. Okay.
he's going to torch him, man. And
Okay.
so that should be a good game. I'm rooting for the Texans
Yeah, I am too.
because I
Yeah.
want to see that young kid continue to flourish, C.J.
Yeah.
Stroud.
I agree.
Um,
Yeah.
so I'm rooting for C.J. and I'm rooting for Robinson,
Hmm.
and that's my own fantasy team. I don't do just the
Right.
whole defense. I just do one defensive player and I get
Right.
my offensive player. So we'll
I
see.
got you. I got you. Now, Mike, with you being a former running back, we had a running back that finally got his contract. The Indianapolis Colts signed Jonathan Taylor this week, a couple of days ago, to the money that he was looking for. He will play today, according to reports. Uh, let's the running back position, man. You and I talked about this a couple of weeks ago. Why do these running backs have to like pull teeth to get paid? In your opinion?
Especially when he led the league in rushing.
Right.
You
Exactly.
might have an argument for some of these guys. Oh, you're always hurt. I mean, and you know what? I applaud him for the process he went through to get this thing done because previously to him getting this deal, you heard he was either going to be traded.
Mm-hmm.
You heard he was on the pup list. You heard he had
Right.
an injury, and he's like, I didn't have no injury. And I think the Colts have put
Right.
that out there. The way it comes across to me is the Colts put that out there. And he says, I don't
Right.
have an injury. So I like how he stood in there. It didn't really get a whole lot of play outside of Indianapolis.
Not really.
I mean,
Yeah.
you think about
Mm-hmm.
it, but by whatever means necessary, he's a young
Mm-hmm.
enough guy that somebody will still take him whenever. I mean, a player like him don't just like be idle because of a fallout or
Right.
whatever it is, a disagreement. Somebody will say, you know what, that dude is too good to not be playing on Sundays. We need a running back. Let's cut a deal. And that
That's
may have
fine. Let's
happened
make it
too.
happen.
that
Yeah,
may have
that's
happened too. They may have sent some feelers out. I'm like, oh, so and to me, it would be like not trying to get feelers about how much it would cost draft wise, but what do the other teams who make these decisions think about a player that we have?
right,
And
right.
they probably came across tens across the board. And they're
Hmm.
like, you know what? We need to wake up. Let's
Yeah.
take care of this young man. So I'm looking forward to seeing him play, man. So good for him and the way he went about doing it. Everybody has to go about doing it their own different way, and some don't always
They
win.
right again, and I always say, don't ever get in a man's pockets. Quit trying to count a man's pockets. Whatever his contract situation is, let him handle it, and work it out the best way
He got a
that
sweet
they
deal
see
too.
fit. He got a sweet deal. He did.
He
For
got
a running
26
back
million.
again,
He got 26
guaranteed.
million
Yeah,
guaranteed. These
guaranteed.
other guys, they have to have incentives built into their deal. So good for him.
Mhm. Good for him. Now our late window games, we got the Eagles at the Rams, we got the Bengals at the Cardinals, and then we got the Jets at the Broncos. That's going to be interesting because of Sean Payton talking smack about the former Nathaniel Hackett, who was the coach at with the Broncos. And then we got your Chiefs at the Vikings. I think this Taylor Swift stuff has finally died down. I hope so, because I was sick of it. But we'll see. Mike, let's talk about your Chiefs at the Vikings. The Chiefs really hasn't. Let's. I don't know what to think of them right now. I don't. They've been winning, but
You know what the Chiefs are like? Chiefs are like when you go to the grocery store and you buy that gallon of milk and you see the date is
right.
the date is like, oh, this thing has expired. And I think
Mm,
the Chiefs that we know them as has
mm,
expired. And I
mm.
think they're trying to reinvent themselves, which is what they've kind of done in the past. But these receivers, and most of them played last year, but for whatever reason, they are just not clicking right now. Um, Travis Kelsey, either he got his first pass in the third quarter last week. I know there was an attempt early on, and it's bringing the Swifty effect on this. I
Right.
don't think it's a distraction yet. However, when you hear, I think I heard Mahomes say, I was trying to get Travis a touchdown for what's her name.
Yeah, he did
No,
say that. I
okay,
saw.
well
Yeah,
then we don't want to hear that.
we don't want to hear
We
that.
don't
Yeah,
want to
that.
hear that
Yeah,
because then we start
yeah.
thinking, well, maybe that's the problem. You're forcing things because
Hmm.
you're trying to help your boy, and help your boy, but she's not the reason, and I'm not dogging her. Another person is not the reason, unless it's like
Right, right,
in remembrance of your
right,
dead, your loved one that died or something. Yeah, that's different. But for
right.
you know, but for stat climbing and just to impress somebody, nah, we can't be doing that. And so it's going to get old for the
Hmm.
Chiefs when not so much the local media, but outside media bring up questions to them about Taylor Swift.
Right. Yeah.
Because the local guys, they kind of know, like, we're not dealing with this. We dealt
Right,
with
right.
it. Let the news department handle that.
Handle that. Right, right.
Right.
Yeah,
Because I'm not going to
yeah.
go in and ask a question about Taylor Swift. I'm just not
Yeah,
going to
yeah,
do that.
yeah. Okay. We've already covered that. We did that at
Yeah.
the first game. We don't need to keep running down that same road about Taylor Swift and Travis
But
Kelsey.
but
Yada
but here's
yada
where I do have concern for
yada.
my Chiefs. They're taking on a heck of a defensive coordinator.
Hmm.
Our boy, I always forget his name. He's got fired from Miami and he's still
Oh
in the
yes.
league.
Brian. What's his name? Yes.
Hispanic last name.
Right. God dog it. Yeah, he is.
Flores.
Flores. Brian
Brian
Flores.
Flores, is
Yeah.
that it? I
Yeah. That's
mean,
it.
he's just a head coach in waiting, is all he
Yeah.
is. Because he's gonna put together a defense, man,
Yeah.
that
That's his
Kansas City's
thing.
gonna have to figure it out.
Yeah. That's his thing. But I just think I know it's still early. I just don't know what to make of that Chiefs team. Offensively, I read something in the sports group where they're saying that does the Chiefs really miss Eric Bieniemy? So was it Eric Bieniemy? Was he the X factor for the way that Chiefs offense clicked? I mean, what
Well,
you
I'll
think
give I'll
on
give you
that?
this example. I'll give you this example. One of my guys that's an insider with the Chiefs, my boy Darren, I
Hmm.
do stuff with. Um, and when he brought it up when we did a session, he said,
Hmm.
"Here's what I noticed. I can't remember what game it was. That's that night they kept dropping all those passes. Oh, Detroit. Was it
Right.
Detroit?
That was
Yeah,
Detroit. Yeah, that was
Detroit.
opening
Right.
game.
And
Yes.
he said what he
Hmm.
noticed is when a player would have a drop years past, Bieniemy is in their butt.
Right.
He's talking to them tough love. Now get your act together. I still support you, kind of stuff. Or he be
Right.
talking to him with his hands on the shoulder, on the kid's shoulder pads. Hey, listen, son, come on now, man. This is how you make your money. So he's imparting wisdom, in real time. And he said, I didn't see any of that. I didn't see any coddling or any, hey, kid, come on, we're gonna get this. He said, man, there was nobody on the sideline doing that, and that's an intangible.
Right.
That is an intangible. Either you're that kind of person or you're not.
Mm.
And evidently that's the void he filled. Eric Bieniemy did, and I think there is something to the fact that he is no longer on the sidelines, and because there's a routine that's been changed.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? When they
Hmm.
had the routine, Bieniemy was always in that routine. And I know you got a new, Nagy, he came back, but I don't
Right.
think Nagy had the kind of relationship before he left to go take over the Bears. I don't think he had that kind of relationship with everybody else. He probably did with Mahomes because of the nature of what he does. But I
Right.
think with Bieniemy, he had that with the offense, the whole offense, the linemen,
All
the
that.
back,
Yes.
the
Yeah.
receivers, and of course the quarterback, because we saw those two go toe to toe. You know,
Hmm. Right.
at a game a couple of years ago when they had a little falling out. I say falling out. They had a disagreement that we
They
all
just
got
had
to
a
see.
disagreement. You know that
Right.
happens in the
We
heat of
all
the
got to
moment.
see. And then the spirit of
Yeah.
sports, coaches want
Yeah.
somebody that's going to bite back. They want that. But anyway,
Right.
having said all of that,
That's what it
I,
is.
I think there's something to missing Bieniemy on the sidelines. He got his hands full in the Capitol, though. So,
Yeah.
and I know
Yeah.
they got blasted, but you know
Yeah.
what?
What he does.
They're
Yeah.
playing better. And here's a
Yeah. They
team
are
that's this is a team that has not had the best of luck in the past few years, just from the organization from top to bottom,
top to bottom.
top
Right.
to bottom.
Yeah.
So now you're going to ask them when they're trying to find their footing to play 4 days later after,
Right.
you got, what was that score? That was the Pittsburgh. What
Yeah.
game was the week before? What was the week before?
Uh, who was I don't know who they were the week before.
Wasn't the Cardinals?
Yes, it was the Cardinals. They beat the Cardinals. They came
Right.
back and beat them. Yeah.
Exactly. So they're
Right.
like, oh
Yeah.
man, then 4 days later,
Right.
they're not built for that right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're not built for that right now. It's like Jacksonville twice over in London.
So
They're probably
so
stronger at doing that than other teams because of the experience they've gone through doing it.
right, right. Yeah. So we'll see. Again, this week 5. I know, it's you don't want to have a knee-jerk reaction. But we'll see what the defending champs will do. Now let's move on to the marquee game of today. This rivalry, man, I tell you, it goes back some years. We got the Cowboys at the Niners. That is the Sunday night game on NBC. The Cowboys come in 3-1. They come in after the big victory over who do the Cowboys? Who did they select?
Well, they took care
The
of
Patriots.
the
They took care
Patriots.
of the Patriots, and the Niners. They just humming along. They had a little. The Cardinals gave them a little bit of a push in that first half. Second half, the Niners took over. They are still undefeated. It's funny about this. I found this stat, Mike, and I did not realize that the all-time record between these two teams is dead even. 19-19-1. So whoever wins this will be one up in the win column in the all-time series. The Cowboys have won 5 Super Bowls. The Niners have won 5. The Cowboys have a slight edge in NFC Championship games, 8-7. And the Niners they are a 3.5-point favorite. Mike, your thoughts on this big Sunday night NFC matchup tonight? This could be a precursor to the NFC Championship game.
Well, I'm going to just come out the gate. I got the Cowboys winning by 4, 31-27. Let's just get that out the way.
Oh, wow. Okay, go ahead.
I'm
listening. Keep going.
I think Mr. Irrelevant, and I'm not dogging him, Brock Purdy. He ain't lost the game yet. Tonight he's going to lose a game. He's going to lose a game tonight. I think Micah Parsons, the effect of Micah Parsons and what they're doing. I know he was come up limping a little bit last week, but I haven't heard any more about it. So hopefully he's 80%, because once the season starts, you're never 100% at that position. So I want to
Mhm.
see, the pass rush on this guy, and we got our homeboy Trent Williams on the offensive line. He's a future Hall of Famer for a
Right,
reason.
right.
So they're gonna have their hands full, and they're gonna have to figure out ways to neutralize him, and Dak's gonna have to make the decisions. I put this game on Dak. I'm a Dak believer. People are kind of like, for real, but I am. Now, the glass is half full right now. And I want to see Dak
Right.
take this team on his back. Just like I've never seen Brock Purdy have to come from behind. Make Brock Purdy
No, we
come from
haven't.
behind. Right. He's there
Mhm.
already. Because he manages the game, and that defense takes care of business, and they don't make mistakes. Well, tonight they need to hit them in the mouth, the Cowboys do. And Dak, you need to just, however it is you feel the kind of player you are, that's the kind of player I want to see from you tonight.
Yeah, I think this game, I'm going to get it out the gate since you got yours out the gate, Mike. I think the 49ers are going to win this game. I think the Cowboys are going to find a way on defense to screw this up. I'll be
On
perfectly honest with
defense,
you. Yes, I
I
think
can
they're
see, I
gonna
can
make
see.
some stupid. They're gonna make some stupid, idiotic. They're gonna have a backbreaking, stupid penalty at the worst
Mm.
moment that's gonna cost them the game. I think that's what's gonna happen tonight, and I think the Niners. I think it's gonna be close. I think the Niners gonna. I think the 3.5 point spread is about right. I see the Niners winning like 27-24,
Okay.
something like that, in my opinion.
Well,
So
and really, it's a stage for both. Well, it's not really. It's a bigger stage quarterback wise in terms of perception for Dak than it is Brock Purdy.
right,
'Cause we
yes,
know where
I
Brock
agree with
Purdy.
that.
We know where Brock Purdy came from,
Right.
and we're seeing him deal with that. But
Mhm.
He's a wily veteran. He's a guy that's looking for his third contract. So, um, it's gonna be on him, man. And
Yeah,
that's what's on. And you know what? And he's been steady. He hasn't been spectacular, but he's
but
done
he's been
enough.
steady.
He's done enough to help
Mhm.
move the chains. I think I want to see more involvement from the run game tonight. I'd like to see that for sure.
Yeah, speaking of you were speaking on Purdy, he is 9-0 as a starter in the regular season. So he hasn't, but that when they played, was it last regular season? Oh no, that was in the playoffs when the Cowboys went there last season. Purdy, the Cowboys had kept him in check pretty much. He didn't have a spectacular game
Right,
in
right.
that divisional playoff game.
Now he was still learning, but
Right.
no, no. Well, I'll tell you what, he already had 7 games under his belt or something like that, maybe 5 games under his belt. So he was still learning, but and that defense with those guys that they have, and
Mhm.
Shanahan's. I give him his props. He's a hell of a coach.
Y-
I used to kind of like be skeptical of him.
Right.
'Cause wasn't he the offensive coordinator with the Falcons in that
Yes.
28-3 debacle?
Yeah, he was. Yeah, with
They
the
just kept
Falcons.
running. They kept throwing the ball.
Yeah.
It's like, why y'all throwing the
Mm-hmm.
ball? It's gonna be
Right.
3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. Y'all need to kill that clock, keep Brady on the sidelines, and
Right.
win 28-27. Okay, as opposed
Mm-hmm.
to losing 31-28.
Right. Right. So again, we got the big game tonight. Again, the Niners have knocked the Cowboys out of the playoffs the last 2 seasons. And check this out, Mike. People always talk about the Cowboys, and again, I'm not a Cowboy fan. I just come with facts, and I don't not emotions. I don't be going at the Cowboys hard like these other anti-Cowboys.
or
But they
or,
always
or,
talk
or
about
Cowboy fans.
yeah, they always talk about the Cowboys hadn't won a Super Bowl since the 90s, which is true. Well, guess what? 49ers hadn't won one since the 90s either. But nobody talks about that.
They
nobody
don't. That's
talks
a good point. That's a very good point, and you're right.
nobody talks about that.
And
Yeah,
you know
they've been
what?
to a Super Bowl since the Cowboys, but they still haven't won it. And
Well, but
what
see,
is that
but
Ricky Bobby says in that movie? If
yeah,
you finish second, you still last. So it don't matter if if you didn't win it, you still last.
you still exactly. Well, and you know what? That comes with the territory of being the most
Yep.
scrutinized, hyped up, talked about team on the first 2 hours and at least 45 minutes of it on those talk shows. That comes with the territory. They don't talk about the Niners.
That comes with the territory.
They don't talk about the Niners
Right.
near as much. They almost talk more about the Lions than they do the 49ers because people don't really talk about. Well, I would say that, but But so you're right though. I mean, it's the same thing. It's
Mhm.
the same thing. And so
Same thing.
yeah, there's a lot
Yeah.
to be said about
So
that. Yep.
so it's going to be a big game tonight. This is the first time since the 94 that these clubs will meet and in the regular season with both teams multiple games above 500. So I thought that was an interesting stat. So let's move on. We're gonna stick in football. We coming to Texas now. My this actually happened back 2 weeks ago on
2 weeks
September
ago.
29th. There was 2 weeks ago there was a high school football game in Texas between two 3A District 7 foes, the Whitney High School team versus Dallas Madison. Uh, the young man by the name of Trey Haynes was dropping back into coverage. He was playing his linebacker position. He accidentally bumped the official, and the official lost his damn mind and yanked the young man's helmet his off his neck, and the young man was actually ejected from the game. I thought that was crazy, but anyway, because I did read a rule that in Texas UIL states that you can't bump an official. If so, then you'll be ejected and you suspended the game. Mike, when you saw this, man, what your thoughts on this whole fiasco with this damn official?
Well, they need to put the backing up into a bumping a referee in perspective.
Right,
Okay.
true.
Let me get real quickly political in and out. The House Speaker. One guy can be mad at you, then you got to go. That's how it happened, right?
That's
So
how it
that's the
happened.
way this rule
Yeah,
is set
yep,
up. That's
that's
the way
true.
this rule is set up. You bump the referee, but yeah, but I was in the course of play. Just put an asterisk like unless in the course of play.
Right.
He's just trying to, do his thing, do his job,
Mm-hmm.
and that was a low blow. And I think just look and see what happened. You
Right.
know, oh, he bumped into you. I could see that rule being applied if it's being done in a threatening manner.
Right.
But this is in the course
Right.
of play. I would say unless in the course of play. Mr.
Yeah.
Referee, you need to get the hell out the way faster
Well,
on
and
that.
then my thing is, we know the referee is part of the field. I get that, and I think that that's part of the thing. But my thing is this: as far as the official, what made you in your mind think that it was cool for you to yank the helmet off this
Well, yeah.
player? And he was in. I mean, he was playing football. He was just trying to do what he's supposed to do during in that defense, and then you decide to go that route. I'm still trying to figure out what possessed this official to do that. I don't know.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I haven't heard him. Have you heard him
Yeah.
comment? Have you heard him? Have you heard him
No, I
comment?
hadn't heard any comments. They haven't even released his name. The UIL said they're investigating. But I don't think this shouldn't take this long because this happened
You know
last
what?
2 weeks ago. Why
I
are you
maybe
still investigating? This should
maybe
be done.
maybe I need to call those schools myself as an interested media member. Like, yeah, we
Yeah.
got we got football's pretty strong where we are.
Right, right. Exactly.
Whatever came of that incident,
Yeah.
and then
Right.
if the answer favors the referee side, but still absolves the young man, I'm like, well, shouldn't there be a punishment?
Hmm.
So if there's a punishment for bumping the ref, there should be a penalty for the ref
Well,
misinterpreting
right. The
and putting his hands
actual
on that kid.
well, I think the official, first of all, my opinion is he shouldn't be allowed to officiate games anymore. Period.
Right.
I
Well, you
mean,
saw, didn't you
that's
see where
my
they said the kid wasn't? They took away the ejection.
right. They took that
I'm
away,
like,
yeah, because they had suspended him for the next game, but they ruled against that. They allowed him. He was able to play this past Friday
so
because
that
they
tells you right
overruled
there.
there.
That tells
Right.
you right there that okay, you're halfway right now.
Yeah.
So now finish the rest of the job on this situation.
Right.
What's
So
going to happen to
yes.
him?
Right.
So no,
Exactly. Again,
I think I'm going to look into that.
yeah, make sure you look into it, Mike. Let me know what you find out. I'm gonna
Yeah.
look into it too. But I will say this: I'm standing on that this official shouldn't be allowed to officiate high school football games in the state of Texas anymore. That's just my opinion.
Well, only reason why that wouldn't work, there's a shortage of them.
That's true. Because I
There's a
just read it. I just saw a story where you are so right. I
there's a
just saw that
shortage of
story.
them.
It's the shortest of them. So
So
what they
yeah,
probably gonna do is give him a slap on the wrist, suspend him for a
yeah.
couple of games, and he'll be back doing that. So we'll see. Now our last story before we get out of here, Mike. We're gonna talk about. First of all, would you get your hair done like that?
No, no, I couldn't pull that sucker off, man.
Yeah.
I couldn't pull. I
Well, anyway,
unless I
but
had a
anyway,
guitar, unless
if
I
you
had a
know,
guitar and a band, and I can pull that sucker off. But if I ain't got no
right,
guitar and I
right.
ain't got no band, I ain't
Well,
pulling that off.
but you know what though, Mike? Now that I think about it, back in the '70s, this is how the
Oh
pimps and
yeah,
players did wear their hair like that.
oh they did, and
You know what I'm saying?
they had the perms and all that. Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he's rocking it.
Well, he, he, he looks like Jermaine Stewart. If y'all
Yeah,
don't
he
know who Jermaine
does.
Stewart is,
He
that
does.
he's a former, peace be upon him. He passed away, I want to say a year or two ago. He had a hit song, "We Don't Have to Take Our Clothes Off."
Yep.
Go Google him, check out his picture. Jimmy Butler looks like him. But anyway, Miami Heat's Jimmy Butler showed up to Media Day last Monday with the emo hairdo. He said that he was somewhat in his emotions about some things, more specifically about the Heat not being able to pull off that trade to get Damian Lillard. He would go on to say that he got something for the Bucks. He's going at him, Lillard and Giannis and the rest of the crew. But he also pierced his eyebrow, lip, and nose as well. Mike, these new cats,
But
they
he ain't
different.
new. He ain't new.
Yeah, he's a younger generation, bro. He
Yeah, but
is.
if he came to the league this way, that'd be one thing. But he must be having a midlife crisis.
Yeah, I don't
That's
know
the only
what.
thing I can
Well,
think
he
of,
wore.
man.
Yeah, well, he wore dreads last year to the first. He
Yeah,
had
yeah,
dreads the media day,
yeah.
and so he comes with something new every day.
But you know what? I'll say this: the brother got some hair that's versatile. So I mean, there's a
Yeah,
lot of folks in the
that's
culture.
true.
Dang, that brother got all that kind of hair. He can do all that kind of things with that. You know, next year
That's true.
he'll have his hair plaited, as they say. With cornrows.
Right,
But
right,
no, long as he can still play, it's all that
right.
matters.
Hey, he's a baller. He's been with the Heat 5 seasons. He's led the
Yeah,
Heat to 2 NBA Finals. The
yeah.
2021 in the bubble, and then this past season versus the Nuggets. He's a dog. And he's straight out of. He's a Texas kid from Tomball, Texas, who played his JUCO ball at Tyler Junior College right here in Tyler, Texas, and Marquette. But I just think he kind of giving me this Jimi Hendrix type vibe.
I mean, it's a '60s look. It's a pimp
Yeah,
look too. You
yeah.
don't put a hat on. They're gonna think you a pimp.
Yeah, but I can tell you what, y'all can rest assured Kendrick will not be doing that because I ain't got the patience to grow my hair back like that. And plus, it would be all gray, and that wouldn't work for me anyway. I don't think I
I
could pull
remember when
that
I
off.
was coming up. I have three sisters. I'm the oldest of four, and I
Yeah.
could always have one of my sisters, be Stephanie. She would braid my hair,
Uh-huh.
and that only happened one time because my mother said, "I got three daughters, not four. Take them braids out your head." So I only wore. I didn't get a chance to wear them out in public because my mother
Right.
has
But
three
yeah, because
daughters
I
and
used
not
to wear
four.
my hair braided. Right. But
Yeah,
it's funny.
yeah,
Back in the '70s, we did used to get our hair braided, and
yeah,
as
yeah.
boys, we would wear it out. But yeah, and it came back, but I ain't never rocked that. So anyway, Jimmy Butler, Miami Heat, we'll see what happens. We'll see what new hairdo he's gonna have. Obviously, I think he's
Shoot,
he's ditched this one
you might get a
already.
hair. You might get a hair commercial, man. You
He
never
he
know.
might do that. You
He might get a hair
right, bro.
commercial.
He might do that. So anyway, we're down to our final thoughts, Mike. What you got? What's on your mind before we get out of here?
Well, you know what? I like the way the Colorado Buffaloes sucked it up. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I know
Mm-hmm.
Dion is legitimately like we play like garbage, and y'all did,
Right.
but Arizona
Mm-hmm.
State's not really a bad team. I saw them play USC tough just 2 weeks ago, and I was like, okay.
That's right. That's right.
The third quarter though, they began to
Right.
falter and
Mm-hmm.
make some mistakes. But you know, Dion and them got that their fourth win.
Yeah.
They beat
Yes. This is their
TCU. They
fourth
beat
win. Yeah.
Colorado State. No, it's their third. It's their third, I
Mm-hmm.
think.
No,
They beat
I think it's their.
TCU.
I thought they were
Beat, T-
3-2. Wait, three. Wait.
they beat
They
they
beat
beat they
TCU.
beat
They beat
TCU,
Colorado State. You're right.
Colorado
They beat
State.
Colorado
So
State.
then now
They
last night Arizona State.
yeah. So
So
that's
they got
three.
three
Yeah,
and
you're
two.
right. They three. They
Three and
three
two,
and
a
two.
one
You're
and two
right.
in conference play. So he's
Right.
three
Right.
games from a bowl game.
Mm-hmm.
Heck, they could
Mm-hmm.
probably almost win 5 games and still get a bowl game just because of the
I
following.
th- I think they will. Yeah, I
I
think they
think they will
will,
too.
even with 5.
So
Yeah.
so good. I mean,
Mhm.
hey, and then those kids got to be like emotionally spent from all this juggernaut stuff from the beginning of the season. That roller
Right.
coaster, the pub, the hype, and the intense. I mean, they're playing with some different other stuff than most other teams are. They're playing with constant hype, like the Jackson Five back in 1971. I mean, they're playing with a lot. I mean, the
Mhm.
the, the paparazzi. They said uh they had more reporters and stuff want to talk to them, but than they did USC last week. You know,
Yeah,
with
well, I'm sure. Yeah,
yeah,
it's
they're like, oh,
yeah,
okay, USC won. They're supposed to win. Let's go talk to these guys because they played them like they played them. So these kids, man, they're growing up real fast, and so
right.
and when they come to the Big 12, they're gonna be the top dog of the Big 12. Ain't no doubt about
Yeah,
that at all.
they're going
They ain't got to play Texas. They
they're
ain't got
gonna
to play
be they're gonna
Oklahoma.
be the top dog.
They gonna
Nope.
come in already the favorite. Ain't no doubt about.
They
So
go
so my takeaway
you
is
right.
they're on the right track. They're on the right track. I think they got at least 2 more wins in them. You know.
Yeah, I don't know what their remaining schedule looks like, but I think you're
Well,
right.
you saw Washington State got beat last night by UCLA.
Oh, did they? I knew they
Yes,
were struggling with them, so
there's a big
UCLA
upset.
was able to pull
Yeah,
that out. Okay.
yeah. So
Yeah, that's definitely a
so
big upset.
there could be
Okay.
another upset down the road involving a Pac-12 team. Why not Colorado?
Right, right. And Utah's in the Pac-12, right? Am I
Yep, yep,
Utah?
yep. They're
You
ranked.
know, and we
USC's ranked. Washington State. I think they
right.
got 3 teams ranked.
Right. Speaking of, in my final thoughts is we're gonna stay in the Pac-12. I don't know if you saw the story about the Utah Utes. Their booster got all 85 scholarship players leased new Dodge Ram
I saw
trucks.
that. I saw that.
And this is obviously the athletes have to they have to actually they have to stay built on the roster. They can't transfer. They have to still do some certain things to keep their vehicle. It's only a lease. They didn't give it to them. They're leased. So I had to make that perfectly clear. But that's I say that to say this: the NIL has changed the game
Oh,
for
most
these college
definitely.
athletes. And I know there's going to be some athletes, some at certain schools. Obviously, they're not going to be able to get a lot of things that other schools, Power Fives, get because they ain't got the deep pockets with these boosters and all these committees that
Well,
they got.
and
You
that's
know,
just it. Because that's who's like maybe the school's paying a coach 1.2 million.
mm-hmm.
Well, the other millions are being picked up by the boosters. That's who's
Right,
that. They're the ones. And so when it comes to these players, the school ain't paying them. It's outside
right,
resources that's paying them. And so it's a novel concept because it took off. I mean, it took off so fast, and it got
mm-hmm.
tested. Like the
Mm-hmm.
Ewers kid the Ewers kid with
Uh,
Texas. I mean,
yeah,
he transferred out of Ohio State.
mm-hmm.
People forget that they
Mm-hmm.
don't talk about that anymore because there's no reason to. But he had a I think an energy drink deal when he went to Ohio
Mm-hmm.
State, and then he transferred and came to Texas. He probably still has that deal, because he went to a
Right,
Power Five that's got a brand name. So
right,
he was able
right.
to. I wasn't for sure how he was going to turn out. I know we got to go, but I thought he would be the kind of quarterback. This is Texas, in my opinion, where they're pushing to be the guy, but he
Right.
ain't the guy.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah,
he is that person. He is that guy.
he is that guy. So those are our final thoughts, Mike. Before we get out of here, I'm just gonna tell the people, y'all make sure y'all, if y'all haven't already, go to your app store. Make sure you download the KLTV, KTRE Red Zone app. High school football in Texas is moving along.
Oh
What week
yeah.
are we in now, Mike?
Hey man, we in week 8.
Wow,
We
we
are
are
in
moving
week
right
8, and we've already
along.
had the buys. We've had the
Okay,
buys. We had the buys going into
okay,
week 6. Had the buys going to,
okay.
traditional week 5 for a lot of the schools were buys for the bigger schools. So technically, you got 2 more regular season games left. for
All
some of
right,
these
well, you're
teams.
getting close. Yeah, it's moving right along. So y'all
You
make
know,
sure y'all download that app in your app store. Make sure you follow Michael at kltv.com. He's all over the place. He don't ever remember his handles for his social media. So just
you picked up on that, huh?
yeah, so you can Google Michael Coleman or search Mike Coleman. You can find all his social media handles because he's on there as well. All right, Mike, man.
All right,
I
big guy.
appreciate you. Brother.
All right,
You
man.
enjoy
I'll
the
talk
rest of
to
your
you.
Sunday.
All right. Appreciate it.
Tell Buster I said what's happening.
I'll do
All
that.
right, buddy. All right. So again, this has been your Sunday morning sports chat with your sports guy Kendrick. Make sure you like and follow me here again on YouTube. That's TFG Sports Media and Kendrick Sports Hustle. That's SportZHustle. Like, follow, share, subscribe. Go check out some of the videos. Get those views up, and make sure you also follow me on Facebook, Kendrick Sports Hustle, as well, and my personal Facebook, Kendrick Roline Henderson. Follow it and like me there, as well as TFG Sports Media on Facebook. And then you can follow me on Instagram at KDrick1969. You can also follow me on TikTok. That's Kendrick Henderson 51. So again, if you guys watch this later, make sure you throw a comment in there and let me know you checked it out. And let me know who you got. Who's your picks for NFL Week 5? And make sure, you stay tuned. Keep it locked here for all your breaking sports news and live streams and all that good stuff here on TFG Sports Media. Again, I am Kendrick, your sports guy. You all enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Enjoy your Sunday football, and I hope you have a great start to your week. I am Kendrick. We will see you on the other side and on the next report. I am out. Peace.